Okay, there was a request recently by Mr. Samuel. Is it at far away? I think he should still be somewhere around here. Okay, yes, where he wanted to understand how something like this could be done. That's what I'll be targeting in this video. Then I should be doing a separate video to address what Mr. John had requested for here. I think it's doing something like this that he was asking about. Okay, so I think this one video can handle both of them. Eventually I'll still make a proper video that deals with them on a topic basis, so this can be considered as just a request response. Okay, so let's dive into it. For the first design, I want to use this project, and I just looked through it. I don't see any walls where I could express that the way you had it there. So I'm going to use this. For me to do that, I'm going to open the floor plan. This is that wall, so I'm going to create an elevation marker to align with that wall. So it's going to start here and it's going to look in this direction. Alright, so I'm going to stretch the marker a bit this way and then pull it outwards a bit. So let's leave it at something like this, and I can open the elevation. It should be E01. Alright, so this is just that wall. I could quickly switch it to simplified so I see this and it's less confusing. Alright, so the next thing I want to do is sketch out that pattern. In the image you have here, no, this is going backward. Alright, this is still it. In this image, what you have is just a repeated X-ish kind of pattern, a tessellated pattern, and I'm observing there's some cases where it's not consistent, but what I'm going to be showing here applies no matter what you have in mind. So what I'm here to do basically is I'm going to draw, I'm using the polyline by the way, I'm going to draw out the shape of the receiving portion on the wall, which is going to be, did I select that? Okay, which is this. Now I'm taking this and leaving it on the same level as what we had before. Then I'm going to use lines once again to define the pattern. So let's say we have something like this. As I said though, no matter what it is you want to draw, the method I'm describing in this video will actually prove helpful to you. So one might be wondering, where exactly is he heading? I don't have anywhere I'm heading. I'm just drawing lines that are just going in every direction, like anywhere the mouse cursor takes me, I'm going with it. Alright, let's take this a bit up and drop one down here. Alright, so the next thing I want to do is to duplicate each of these such that it gives the illusion of having space between them. So that would represent, based on what you had, the white regions, and then this is going to be like the darker regions. Alright, so I can take away the excesses. I could just trim them off. Alright, trim off this portion. Now you could also take your time to ensure that the spacing you have is more consistent. You could use dimensions to do that. I didn't do that because I'm not here to teach about a particular pattern. So what I'm applying to, just draw the pattern that works for you, and then get something that works with it. So I'm going to select all of these now, and I'm going to cut with Ctrl X. Then I'm going to open the profile manager for complex profiles and edit an empty custom profile. So I'm going to paste this here, And after pasting it, the next thing I want to do is to drag it such that the origin aligns with the origin of this complex profile. Alright, so now that I have this, I'm going to use the fill tool to cover everything. Okay, then I'm going to specify which of the fields I want. In this case, it's the soil fill, and that's not what I need. What I need is going to be kind of like a plasterboard, gypsum plasterboard, or plaster gypsum, or lime sand. You mentioned that it was going to be Tyrolean, so using lime sand is the closest among Zakikat's default building materials that does that. Next, I'm going to hold the space bar as though I want to, not just as though, using the magic wand tool. Then I'm going to subtract these white regions. Okay, now observe that once my subtraction makes one point separate from the other, I can't continue using the magic wand tool. Alright, so we just continue like so. Alright. Okay, so alright, so I need to identify what parts of it to delete. I think these three here and these three here. So I'm going to select this, and take them out. Then I can also delete the lines. I can use Ctrl A to select all the views. With this I can see their edges, by the way. This wasn't active earlier. Alright, so we have something like this. Now if you want a hollow pattern, hollow in the sense that you're going to have something like this on the front and it will just have the groovings or space that reveals the finish on the wall behind. If that's the kind of thing you want, then this is good enough. But if what you want is these to have sort of equal recess, or what I say protrusion away from the wall, then you're also going to need to fill in these other smaller spaces. And the fastest way to do that is just to still copy this, fill up everywhere. Feel free to send it to the back so you can at least see the others, then start subtracting the big ones out of it. Okay, the subtracting, I'm just holding space bar and clicking on the areas I want to subtract, and there we have it. So we have this as the grooves and then these as the main Tyrolean finish itself, if I'll be referencing what architect Samuel requested. Alright, so I'm going to select everything and then release this one in the center and say I want them to have a specific color, which in this case I'm going to be using the Stucco white fine finish. Alright, why I'm using this has no specific reason. It's just something that closely resembles white Tyrolean, or I could go with a different variation of the Stucco, which would be the beige. Alright, the Stucco beige, and then I'm going to specify this as titanium white, my favorite white from Archicad. And now I can save this profile and give it the name facade 1 and say okay. So now that I have done this, I'm returning back to the floor plan, and that profile, if you look, it was saved with the wall complex profile setting. So I select wall here, and then I'm going to change the method of drawing the wall from the generic to the complex profile method, and then in the list of profiles I see the facade one that I just created. So I select it and then come to where that wall is, I'm going to start from here, draw out in this direction to whatever thickness suits my need. In this case, I could say probably 25 mm, and I have something like this. So let's see what it looks like on the 3D. Okay, it's here, but it's inverted. It seems to be joining into the wall. So something I could do to correct that was a mistake. Something I could do to correct it is to space it away from the wall by just a little. First of all, remove it by, say, like 1 mm, something so small. Akika actually noticed the one. All right, then adjust the length. Because of it was in contact with the wall earlier, ArchiCAD automatically merged it into the wall. But now that we have this small space between it and the wall, that's not going to be the case anymore. So we're expecting to see that pattern. Okay, it's still not displaying as expected. Then I'm going to flip it. It's still somewhat merged into the wall, and this is it. Yeah, I flipped it now. Then I'm going to drag it so that the origin comes to this point, and it's merging up with something else, probably not the wall. Let's just move it a bit far out and see what we have. Oh, it's not merging with anything. I don't know how I could have been that forgetful. Alright, what's happening is my wall settings already had everything to be overridden with titanium white on one side. Deactivate that. I should have something like this. One might say, Sir Frank, this is not exactly what we had in mind, and I'll be like, yeah, but still good. Let me restore it to where it should be. We're not yet done. So this is the profile. I'm going to push it. At this position, it's in contact with the wall, so I'm going to like push it out again by 1 mm as we did earlier. Then I'm going to go back into the complex profile to edit, and I'm going to select this one we have here in the center and use Ctrl X to cut it out, and then save. It creates a new one. Save the existing one, create a new one as a duplicate. When I do this, you'll observe that there is option here to create new or to duplicate. So I'm using duplicate, and I'm going to name the duplicate facade 2. So for anyone who was wondering why I named it facade 1 earlier, that's because I had the intention to still create a second one. Alright, so I'm going to go to the edit area and then paste what I had just cut off. Then take away all these big guys. I think, yeah, that's good. And then I save this as facade 2, and I get back into the floor plan here. And here on the floor plan, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw the two as though they were together. So I'm going to create a copy of this one and place it here, and then change this to facade 2. So this is facade 1, this is facade 2, and then I'm going to like push this back inside to this place, then reduce the length to about this because we wanted it to feel recessed. And when you check it out on the 3D now, we have something like this. We're still not exactly where we wanted to be. It's quite close, but something is lacking, and that's the fact that I want this facade 2 that's on the inside to be plain white, and then this edge color I can see here, I want to be able to deal with that as well. So let's start with making the facade 2 white. I'm going to go back to edit the profile, select it, and then override to ensure that it's going to be titanium white. After, when I do this, I can go back. Then I'm going to look at facade 1 as well to be sure everything here is supposed to be the stucco beige, and that looks just as planned. Okay, I went the wrong direction. Undo. Come over here and override these, and we have something like this now. Alright, so here we've got this, and I think this is the kind of thing we had wanted. If I wanted a different color inside, if I wanted, say, something dark, once I select it, I come over here and then I can go with dark gray. Where's my cursor? Alright, if I choose the dark gray, I end up with something like this, which is a variation. Then let's look at the color we have displaying here on the edge. I'm going to select the main profile, then override only edge surfaces to titanium white, and now that wasn't the edge surface. That's surprising. Alright, so here we have this. Okay, so I think I have answered what you requested, Architect Samuel. There is one more video to be done before I get to work this morning. I apologize for not having done this yesterday. Something came up and I had to leave work for a while. If you still have any further questions, or if you run into any difficulty while using this, you know how to reach out to me. For those who might be seeing these videos but haven't subscribed and are not part of the ArchiCAD WhatsApp community that we are gradually building, you could actually use the link that is attached in the description for this video to join in. And if you've not subscribed, as I said, please do so. What I do here basically is, one, when people request for how they want to achieve certain things in ArchiCAD, I help them get that done. Alright, this video is already way longer than I intended. We'll see in the next one. Bye.